the crop out.
Right.
This is Scott Jordan. You're watching live here at Cellars of Sonoma in Santa Rosa, California. I've got Ted Elliott from TR Elliott Wines here, and we're talking about Pinot, and he has 3 magnificent Pinot Noirs. And we're talking about the weather conditions. Now, I noticed, I drove through the valley the other day, and I noticed I was over in Alexander Valley, or Dry Creek, and the bud break was extensive. And I'm thinking, holy Toledo, man, that is screaming.
Yeah, good.
But then the weather is an issue. So tell people, now you've got bud break, meaning the buds have broken through. You're seeing some of the green leaves,
right.
But that can be a danger point at this point, right? I mean, frost is a problem, right?
Yes, and you've got some customers here. I had a fun conversation before we started filming there in the foothills of California, where the weather's even colder.
Yeah.
So that's what happened when we talked about my 2008. When you get the bud broken, exposed, and weather falls below 32 degrees, it's quite likely that that'll damage, just as too much heat would damage as it happened in the summer. But cold weather is a permanent problem.
Right.
In our nighttime temperature, I think your audience may know this, but it's not unusual to have a 40-degree shift night to day.
Yeah.
And we've had daytime temperatures of 75, but nighttime temperatures of 35, and then they get below 32, which is what you were explaining.
Yeah.
Then that bud will be killed. And the growth will be killed. So the outcome is you just lose some fruit. And
now to prevent that, you know the temperature is going to change. You're watching the weather.
Yeah.
I've been through vineyards where I see sprinklers going on.
Yeah.
So tell the folks what that theory is. I mean it's pretty amazing. I mean it's freezing cold on. I see sprinklers going on.
I know. It seems backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
When to ameliorate the effect of very cold under 32-degree weather on the fruit, you have a couple of options, and you've mentioned the one where we don't usually call them sprinklers; they're misters now, and that's an effort to save water.
Okay.
But it's a lot less water if you missed it. But that you can think of it as the cold gets attracted to the liquid and not to your grape. There's about 2 steps more complicated than that, but that's one way to think of it. Another way is that liquid envelops the little tiny cluster, little tiny bud, and protects it. But that and moving the wind around, which is the other thing we've seen more and more fans.
Big fans.
Big fans, and those fans will blow air from a warmer part of the vineyard into the colder part.
Well, if you go through the valley, and we're in beautiful wine country, so we're blessed. But you'll see these big towers with these big wind. It looks like a big propeller on it, and you'll hear those things kick on, and that's circulating the air.
Right.
Now I've even seen them on at the end of the growing season when you get a little rain, and I've seen them kick them on to try to move the water off of the vines. In fact, I worked at a place in Napa where they got leaf blowers and went out one day in the vineyard and started blowing the water off the off the Chardonnay. It's kind of
great. Mildew is an issue, and obviously if you dry that out, which is what Scott's talking about, that prevents another serious issue, which could be rot or mildew.
Yeah, and you sure don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want to have to spray. No, it's a bad thing. Yeah, makes a really funky wine.
At least we're not burning tires in the grape vineyards anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was the old-fashioned way.
That's right. Well, that's a great example of what it really takes to make wine. We take advantage of wine. We get a bottle. We buy it in the wine shop or the tasting room, and you kind of take it for granted. But man, there were some serious steps and a lot of consideration that had to go on to make it to this point right here, to be able to open it up and then enjoy it in the way we're enjoying these now. I mean, that's.
And I remind everybody that's watching and listening that Scott has a particular talent of finding small operations like mine. And he has to manage us, which is probably just about as hard as getting a good crop out of.
I don't sleep at night. That's
right. But he's put together a pretty nice arrangement of wineries that all share one thing for sure, and that's the top quality there is.
Yeah.
Given the fruit, and we're in the best growing regions, one of the top growing regions in the world, so we should be good.
Yeah, I've got 9 of the most amazing winemakers here, and I'll tell you what, we looked at hundreds and hundreds of bottles of wine, and I look at them all the time. I get samples in here all the time. But man, I'll tell you what, when you look at these, and the one thing that you're going to find in any of the wines that we have here at Cellars of Sonoma, you're going to love the portfolio, and we had to love the entire portfolio. But there were lots of winemakers that made a couple of really cool wines, and then something just didn't match. It was it was terrible. Yeah. And it's a real shame because, you know, my wine club members, those of you that are wine club members, you rely on me to send these wines out, and they've got to be nice. Right. And so we're very fortunate. We found great winemakers like Ted, and these are 3 fantastic Pinots. We can't argue.
We're going to send the 08 out with your next club shipment. Is that right?
I'm thinking, yeah.
I think they'll love it.
Yeah, don't you think?
Oh no, that's a good choice.
Yeah, the three plumes. I'm thinking that too.
Well, the only place this is available for those is here actually. If you want this wine, there's so little of it. We have to make a decision where to sell it. And I'd love to have, and I'm looking for one restaurant. It would have to be a marquee restaurant to have this wine, but the rest goes directly to consumers. Yeah, it's one of those wines I think is just a treasure.
Yeah, and again, we're talking small production wines here. We're not talking about mass production. Your hand is in every barrel. Right. Yeah. I mean, bottom line, you don't have a crew of 50 people running around doing testing on barrels. You're down there.
I know every barrel.
Yeah, you know every single barrel. I love that. Well, Ted, I want to thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
We end all of our videos the same way. This is where you discover wine one sip at a time. We've got some special guests. I may have a chef for next week or the week after coming in. Watch for that announcement. We've got lots of stuff coming up. The spring is here. Sorry, Dan from Iowa. I know it's freezing cold, but sorry. And Dan, I think I'm going to send you a couple bottles of wine to write about. He does a blog, and he did a nice little write-up about you, and I think we need to let him taste some of these.
He should taste this. I think Dan was able to get for the Cuesta, Dan, but I think he'd have fun with these others too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and let him write about them. I think that'd be great.
Fantastic.
He's been a good supporter of us.
Right.
So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Somehow I know